Well, good evening. I'm your host, Robert Wilson, with Cowboy Wisdom Podcast. Tonight's podcast is 7 Ways Why Business Mindsets Today Are Controlled by Nervous System Reflexes. Why business mindsets today are controlled by nervous system reflexes, emotional snapshots, socialized programming, and comfort zone programming, and social obedience. We're conditioned to be obedient to society. Yet beneath the spreadsheets of strategies, business thinks and knows through inherited reflexes. As decisions are never sculpted, they're triggered as emotional snapshots loop through the nervous system. Socialized programming rewards obedience over originality and common sense. Because a velvet cage of mimicries until we question the architecture of business remains a polished rerun of ancestral survival mode programming. Modern business is never run by strategy. It's run by survival beneath the spreadsheets and slogans. Ancestral alarms still echo through the nervous systems, shaping decisions from emotional residue and inherited caution. Leaders unknowingly curate their brands from body memory, never breath line brilliance. Until we question the comfort zone logic, we keep scaling stress instead of sculpting sovereignty. Why decisions are never sculpted, they're triggered. Decisions are never sculpted, they're triggered because the body obeys the mind, because the body obeys before the mind inquires. And see, that's the thing. The body's triggered before the mind. And that's why when the mind's triggered, we replay whatever the pain of that situation was in the past. The mind loves to replay pain. As most choices erupt from the nervous system reflexes, never from intuitive resonance or vibrancy, emotional snapshots stored in the breath muscle memory loop faster than thought. We'll repeat that. Emotional snapshots stored in breath muscle memory loop faster than thought, shaping action before awareness. What feels like a decision is often our reenactment and an ancestral echo dressed as logic. Authentic sculpting begins when breathline brilliance overrides the reflex and presence dissolves programming. Why the body obeys before the mind inquires. Because the body remembers what the mind has never questioned. The body remembers what the mind has never questioned. Reflexes fire before reflection forms. The body is a broadcast tower from ancestral alarms. Before thought even forms, the nervous system reacts, looping through inherited survival codes, emotional snapshots, and socialized reflexes. The body never waits for permission to respond. It reruns what it was trained to fear. The body reruns what it was trained to fear. Inquiry arrives late unless breathline brilliance interrupts the broadcast. Reflex is rehearsed. Reflection is resisted. The body obeys because it's wired to protect, never to perceive. It scans for danger, never depth. Emotional residue stored in muscle and breath triggers action before awareness. Can sculpt intention. Before awareness can sculpt intention. Until we question the choreography, we keep dancing to someone else's rhythm. And that's what we do. We're dancing to our ancestors' rhythm, never to our rock and roll of our here and now. Why the body is a broadcast tower for ancestral alarms. The body stores what the ancestors could never speak. Generation of survival mode silence, famine, war, suppression etched themselves into our breath, muscle, and reflexes. These unspoken alarms never vanish. They're rerouted into posture, tension, and reaction. Your body never just moves, it transmits inherited caution, looping through time until questioned by presence. Cellular memory is ancestral radio playing in our life today. Your nervous system is never just yours, it's a living archive. Emotional snapshots, socialized obedience, and third world scarcity codes pulse through your cells like static. The body broadcasts these signals before the mind even tunes in. Liberation begins when you stop decoding and start detuning whatever yesterday was. Why you can try to change and shift your life and business, yet you stay the same because the body, emotional snapshots, nervous system cells are the same. You can shift your goals, but your cells still rerun the old script. Change declared from the mind will never, won't, and if the body is, will never occur when the body is still looping ancestral alarms. Emotional snapshots stored in breath, muscle, and posture override the fresh intentions. Until the nervous system is in a rise, transformation remains a performance, never a pulse. But your business may evolve, but your reflexes still obey survival mode programming. How do you witness that in your life? You want to do something, but you still witness and stay inside the boundaries of survival mode programming. I do. This is an awakening. And something I've discovered with AI, I can ask it questions and get a different pathway than I can from reading other people's books. I write inspiration so people can open up and move forward, but I write my books unpunctuated. Unpunctuation, my unpunctuated books are breath punctuated and spirit punctuated. Because you take a breath, that's a comma or whatever. But when you stop and try to think and know and put everybody else's stuff in your life, you just make you stress out and doubt. You can rebrand, restructure, and even ritualize, but your nervous system still equates stillness with danger and visibility. With threat, you'll recreate the same patterns, but with threat, you recreate the same patterns. Authentic shift begins when you detune the broadcast tower, but when you rise, you leave it behind. Shift, you just move sideways. And shift means something different to me because I drove oil field truck in the Rocky Mountains. And when you missed a gear, that was a whole new beginning. You could really do some things interesting. But when authentic rise begins is when you detune the broadcast tower of inherited tension and sculpt from sensation. You can speak, change, but your body still whispers caution. Affirmation, strategies, declarations mean little if your cells still carry the residue of comparison, scarcity, and obedience. The body must be invited into the rise, never commanded. The body must be invited into the rise, never commanded. Energized rituals, breathline inquiry, and sovereign sensing are ignition keys. Why the business world is stuck in indoctrinated education that destroys a here and now wisdom, insight, clarity, and fresh innovation. Curriculum trained cognition replaces breathline brilliance. Business leaders are shaped by systems that reward memorization over intuition. Indoctrinated education teaches answers, never inquiry. Looping minds into legacy logic while silencing sovereign sensing, and sovereign valor. Innovation dies when insight is filtered through outdated frameworks instead of felt through the here and now. Standardized thinking sterilizes sovereign innovation and unfoldment. Business world worships credential and case studies, mistaking repetition for relevance. Indoctrinated education trains mind to mimic, never sculpt. It replaces energized listening with external validation, erasing the clarity that rises from contradiction, friction, and the felt experiences that open up to your here and now wisdom. Here and now wisdom is exiled by performance programming. Business culture built on indoctrinated metrics fears stillness, mistrusts presence. Insight that arises in the moment is dismissed as unprofessional. As authentic innovation never comes from planning, it pulses from presence and what is going on right in front of you. Until education honors the now, business will keep scaling yesterday's dismay. And if you really look at the business world and the way it operates, you can see yesterday today. Why business mindsets today are unknowingly stuck in third world enslaving mindset, ancestor survival mode programming and nervous system, and our nervous system. Business still worships scarcity as strategy. Rooted in ancestor survival logic, modern business treats competition, control, and accumulation as sacred. These are echoes of a third world trauma where lack is shaped as leadership. The nervous system stays in fight or flight, mistaking urgency for innovation and obedience for optimization. Corporate culture mimics colonial cognitions. Most business frameworks are inherited, never invented. Most business frameworks are inherited, never invented. They reward mimicries, hierarchy, and productivity over presence, intuition, and originality. The nervous system obeys outdated metrics, looping through performance anxiety, program loyalty to someone else's map. We'll read that again. The nervous system obeys outdated metrics, looping through performance anxiety and program loyalty to someone else's map. Entrepreneurship is often trauma in disguise. Many leaders build empires from emotional snapshots, fear of failure, and need for validation, inherited hustle. Their nervous systems are wired to prove, never pulse. True liberation begins when business becomes a breath line of divine prime time, trend-setting ingenuity, broadcasting brilliance, never repeating survival. When business mindsets are intertwined and controlled with the control through our cellular levels and the body that is a broadcast tower for ancestral alarms. Business reflexes are cellular reruns of ancestral survival mode programming. Before strategy is sculpted, body reacts. Scarcity, urgency, and control are never just business tactics. They're nervous system echoes of ancestral terrain and emotional snapshots stored in cells looped through decision. Branding stress is success and obedience is optimization. The boardroom becomes a stage for inherited alarms. Leadership posture is programmed by generational tension. Leadership posture is programmed by generational tension. The body never just sits in meetings, it transmits. I'll say that again. The body never just sits in meetings, it transmits. Breath, muscle, and micro movement carry the residue of ancestral vigilance. Business mindsets mirror this tension, hyperproductivity, fear of stillness, addiction to validation. That's when somebody says they're busy and productive. It's fear of stillness, addicted to validation. Until leaders detune that broadcast, they scale survival mode instead of sculpting sovereignty. Why business mindsets are cellular reruns of ancestral survival mode programming. Strategy is often just stress in a suit. What gets called vision is just often a reflex rooted in ancestral alarms that equated movement with safety and control with the survival. Business mindsets loop through urgency, competition, and accumulation, never from clarity. Yet from the cellular but from cellular memory. And that's the thing. A lot of the stuff we incur and all the self-help and personal growth, it's just a rerun of cellular memory. The nervous system reruns scarcity scripts, and poverty consciousness while the brand pretends to innovate. Leadership posture is inherited, never invented. Most business behavior, decision making, delegations, even ambition is sculpted by body memory, never breath-line brilliance of the here and now. Emotional snapshots from ancestral terrain shape how leaders respond to risk, power, and change. Until the cellular broadcast is questioned, business remains a ritual of reaction, never revelation. Business remains a ritual of reaction, never revelation. By rising to understand and embody wisdom inspiration, awakens business scenarios of the here and now, energetically liberated, because business is never just numbers, it's nervous systems, emotional snapshots, and inherited reflexes stressed in strategy. Today's leaders unknowingly scale survival mode programming, mistaking urgency for innovation and obedience for optimization. This wisdom invites a sovereign expansion, from reaction to revelation, from mimicry to mastery, from comfort zone logic to breath-line brilliance. Business never needs more tactics. It requires extensive cellular liberation. Why business mindsets today are controlled by ancestor nervous systems. Scarcity logic still drives strategy. Most business models are built on ancestor survival instincts: hoard, compete, dominate. These nervous system reflexes were forged in famine fear, yet they still shape modern decisions. Leaders of chase urgency mistake stress for success and call it growth while broadcasting inherited alarms from yesterday. Corporate culture mimics ancestral obedience, hierarchy control, and performance pressure. Mirroring tribal survival codes. The nervous system obeys old programming, avoid risks, seek approval, stay in line. Innovation gets filtered through fear. Intuition is sidelined by inherited caution, dressed up as professionalism. Entrepreneurial drive often masks ancestral trauma. The hustle, the grind, the need to prove, it's never just ambition, it's an ancestral echo. Business becomes a stage for the unresolved emotional snapshots. Business becomes a stage for unresolved emotional snapshots. Where do you see that in your life? I see that in mine. Until leaders question the nervous system script, they'll keep scaling survival instead of sculpting sovereignty. While energized listening, maverick questions, and enterprising investigative intuition rises you out of ancestor programming and third world enslaving mindsets, emotional snapshots, and nervous system cells in the body. Energized listening detunes the broadcast of inherited obedience. And you listen from best line, never biased. You interrupt the ancestral echo chamber. Energized listening is never passive. It's a sovereign intuition that hearkens wisdom, insight, and clarity rising you, me, and the world out of habit, dissolving the reflex loops wired into your nervous system. It tunes you to your here and now, wow, never then and that. Maverick questions fracture the comfort zone cage. Questions that don't seek answers but liberation, piercing the programming. Maverick inquiry never confirm what you know. It confronts what you inherited. See, that's what we're doing. We're not confirming what we know. We're confronting what we inherited. As it activates cellular rebellion, inviting your body to rise, shine, and energize from reaction into revelation. The question becomes a ritual. Inner rising investigative intuition rewires emotional architecture. This is never a gut feeling, it's a sovereign sensing. When you investigate from within, you liberate and unfold and broadcast emotional snapshots into energetic clarity, into which intuition becomes a sculptor. Your nervous system and dissolving third world scarcity codes, breath line brilliance. But this is something I actually learned this today. We ain't here to feel comfort for what we know. We're here to question and investigate what we inherited from our ancestors. That's why the third world enslaving mindset never leaves. We've never questioned with maverick questions, intuitive innovation, investigation, and hearken to uniqueness. We've never confronted what we inherited. So it's not questioning where we're at or what we know, it's questioning what we inherited. So that's why we question all the education, everything in the world. We question it to rise, shine, and energize the here and now. But it's question what we inherited. And that's what our nervous system, survival mode thinking, all that. We got to question and investigate what we inherited to rise, shine, and energize and open up our transcending tenacity. People, you're so talented, you have no clue. But we're trying to confront what we already have in us rather than investigate what we inherited from the ancestors, third world enslaving mindsets, all that. It's about confronting and investigating what we inherited through the school system, society, parents, ourselves, belief system, viewpoints, opinions. I mean, you got an opinion. I got one. If you don't have any, I'll loan you. If you have none of this, I'll loan you some. Because when I opened up and admitted to me, that set me free from me. All this stuff about thinking the world did, you inherited blame, shame, and all that stuff. We inherited from our ancestors all the negativity and all the burping BS in our life. So when you can admit you inherited it and your habits are inherited, you can rise, shine, and energize your way out of them. And I am Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity. That's why energetic liberation, politically incorrect inspiration, you are confronting your inherited stuff. Herited crap for me, but anyway, but that's the thing. We want to investigate the inherited stuff, never what we think and know. You want to invigorate and investigate your inherited stuff you don't want. And I want to thank you, and may you all enjoy a lovely week. And I think fall is about here. So anyway, enjoy your evening and thank you.